Hello and welcome to Late Night Live. I'm here, of course, Joe, your host. No intro tonight. We had a good run, didn't we? But you know what? After such a long time, I just couldn't be arsed. What? That's not right, is it? That's not good. Tonight's show, should I say, is sponsored, as always, on a Friday by Cans, of course. Let me know in the comments what you are drinking tonight. We're going to be talking all sorts. We're going to be talking about Martinez. We're going to be talking about Coulibaly. We've also got a few strange stories tonight. A couple of strange ones coming out. One is absolute filth, I will warn you, but we've got that to look forward to. So let us know in the comments what you think to that. Also let me know in the comments what you're doing to pass this time between games. This is too long. You know what, before the transfer window started, one second. And they first announced that we're going to have this winter break, I was all for it. I thought, yeah, you know what, the players looking tired, we've got a thin squad as it is, injuries are racking up, all that sort of thing. Sick of it, I regret it, I don't care. I don't even care anymore. If they play 6 games a week, I just love it, I just want more games. Let me know in the comments what you're doing to pass the time between these games. We're nearly halfway through. Nearly halfway through till the Chelsea game. Not too long to go now, but it's just a nightmare, isn't it? It's an absolute nightmare. With all the excitement of the transfer window, that comes crashing down as it ends, and then we've got all the excitement of the Premier League, that comes crashing down for 2 weeks. Can't even believe it, can't bear it, quite frankly. Let me know what you're doing. Someone in the comments saying, Joe sounds about to think is it a YouTube thing? Is it? It doesn't look, it looks like it's alright to me. We have had some sync issues recently, but it looks on the, I'm just checking the monitor there, the stats, I'm checking the producer, which is me. Ask the producer, is that in sync? Yeah, it's in sync. It's a YouTube thing if it's anything. It's not at my end. Anyway, I'm going to Salford game. Whether that's rugby or football, they're both at home. Oliver, there you go. Rugby or football, who cares? He finds out when he turns up. Messi spotted in Manchester. Rumours he's signing for Salford. He could do. He's always been a big fan of Darren Gibson. You see those quotes coming out all the time. Messi saying Darren Gibson is the best midfielder of his era. Oh, was that Paul Scholes? I'm pretty sure it was Darren Gibson. Tell you what, one more. Let's not mess about. It's a Friday night, lads. As we all know, it's Friday night, isn't it? Right, there we go. Let's turn that off. Music off. I won't tell you again. Right, let's get right into some news because, like we're talking about, the transfer window's ended. The transfers never stop. The transfers never stop because United, as we all know, has got a depleted, diminished squad that requires some serious investment, some serious changes. I'm wearing a turtleneck, so I need some transfer news. I've come all serious for this. Right. Spiffy, very spiffy. Right, let's get into some news then. Switching over to the laptop. Once the laptop gets involved, you know there's problems. And zoom in on that. Bring in the laptop. There we go, just like that. Like a young Tommy... What's he called? Who said just like that? One of the comedians. Anyway, this is in the Times. United will refuse to meet £94 million release clause for Inter striker Lautaro Martinez, who is someone who, let's all be honest with ourselves right now, look in the mirror, or look at me, or look at a dog, or look at a loved one, and say to them out loud, and with me, I don't know anything about him. Be honest. Just because he's worth 94 million don't mean you've ever seen him before, because I know you haven't, because no one has. I've heard of him, we've seen maybe a few highlights here and there, but he's not lit up the Champions League, he's not scored loads of goals, particularly in the last few years, to really have gained a reputation. He's kind of an unknown factor in terms of European strikers, but he's scoring a lot of goals for a good team, and United are interested in him. As the Times say here, United will refuse to meet a £94 million release clause, but that doesn't mean that the deal is off, that doesn't mean that it's over. There are plenty of release clauses that are ludicrously high. I think Karim Benzema has a €1.2 billion release clause. So just because the release clause is unfeasibly high doesn't mean that a transfer won't happen. And United are clearly interested. This coming from Paul Hurst in the Times, who has been relatively reliable in recent times. No pun intended there. Manchester United have ruled out a move for Lautaro Martinez after they bought... Imagine that. Woodward, hello, yeah, can we get Lautaro Martinez? Sure. Don't know, that was a Russian, I don't know. Sure, 100 million euros, because that's... And then Edward was like, ugh, sorry, what was that? Sorry, I was nearly sick then. How much did... 1 million? I thought you said 100, but you must have said 1 million, sure. No, 100 million. Oh. I'm going to have to ring you back, I've been sick in my mouth. And why do they always say bought? There's no way that happened, he just went, that's a lot, innit? See you then. 94 million is too much. He's Argentinian, which is good. He's 22. He's got 11. Let's have a look at his stats here. Here we go. He's got 16 goals in 27 games so far this season. And quite frankly, when I hear the words 100 million, I throw up. They always say the word balk, don't they, in the newspapers? Never quite understood why. But United want to recruit a forward. United want to recruit a forward. There you go. Get your lips around that. In the summer, after realising they made a mistake by not replacing Lukaku when he left for Inter Milan last year, that is Kevin McAllister Home Alone levels of mistake, isn't it? Are we missing something? Nah, surely not. We've got 10 players. That's enough, isn't it, for a game of football? What is football? Is it 10 players? Yeah, probably 10 players. We sold the striker, so we did have 11, and then we sold the striker, so yeah, I guess we'll just play with 10. Oh wait, no, it's still 11. Yeah, you sell your striker, you have to buy a new flipping striker, especially when he's 65 million. You're like, right, let's spend at least that on replacing him, surely. Maybe he didn't fit the system, maybe he wasn't happy at United, but we'll at least get someone as good as him who does fit the new system, surely. Nah, do you know what we'll do? We'll play that left winger that's been playing there for 4 years. We'll just play him as a striker instead now and not replace him. And then when he gets injured, and then your other best player gets injured, and your midfielder gets injured, and your other best midfielder gets injured, then you're shit and everyone laughs at you. Let's do that. That was the plan, and it's working. But it appears now that plan has been abandoned and going for a more traditional, and I would say boring plan of selling players and replacing them, for fuck's sake. So we're going to be doing it that way. Again, boring if you ask me, very traditionalist, but we have realised that selling a player means you need to replace him. Good. So they're assessing a number of options after missing out on their top target, Erling Haaland, who joined Dortmund last month and hasn't scored a single goal since. That's good, isn't it? Because I would be very embarrassed if he'd gone there and scored 50 goals in 8 minutes. But luckily he hasn't done that. United's scouting department have watched the striker extensively like that. Watching him at Dortmund like that. He's... Haaland has, yeah, he scored again there. Oh, he's just scored again. I hadn't finished writing the last one down because he scores every 30 seconds at Dortmund. It looks as though United are after a striker after all, which I think, like I said, is something that should have been. Can we say it should have been obvious from when you sold a striker? We can all agree on that, can't we? Let's see what's saying in the comments. The best flair to add to fake vomiting is to spit on the floor. I'll try it again. Hello, yeah, can I get Lautaro Martinez? Yeah, he's got a release clause, so if you want to pay that, it's 100 million. Yeah, sorry. I like it. Thank you very much for that, Matt. Someone says, great stream. Thank you. Grealish in the summer? Sure. Opinions on Ighalo. We'll come to that very soon, so think of them, but save them. Martinez will go to Barca. They want him as a Suarez replacement. That comes from Eric Abidal there, so he must know. I don't think we really need another striker. Here we go, JTR. A.k.a. Ed Woodward in the comments. We definitely need wingers and midfielders. Martial would be popping if he had right players around him. Perhaps he would. But, you know, I think getting someone that's scored a large number of goals in a season at United would certainly be something that... it's just a good thing, isn't it, having proven strikers at a club? And currently we have none. Rashford's 19 goals currently is the most that I think anyone in the squad has ever scored in a season. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I believe that Rashford's current tally for this season is more than anyone in our squad has ever scored in a season, which to me is ridiculous. We need a proper striker, yeah, I agree. I'm from Paraguay. Do you know when I've only had 2 cans, so this, you know, I'm just nice. But words like Paraguay become much more difficult than they used to. I'm from Paraguay. Someone said in the brackets, Argentina's neighbour. Just ring on the door and ask for some sugar or something else. And have been following his career somewhat. The kid is class, but not 100 million. Yeah, I think you often hear this sort of, you know, it's the release fee, the release clause fee or nothing, when a lot of times you start at the release clause fee and you work your way down and it's sort of 60 million plus add-ons by the time you've got there. Replace Rashford, we can't have players in our team that Liverpool or City would want. Don't know what that means at all. But interesting point, interesting take. Right, let's move on to our next story then. And this one, again, it's another transfer story. You'd think they'd slow down. They never slow down. And we're here to analyse, review, and see what's true. Write that down because that rhymed. I'll just shorten that. Anal. Rev. My C. true. Right, there you go. Anal rev my C, true. Back to the laptop. No, good click. There we go. Man United in front of Q for Kudu. that was bad. Man United in the front of the queue for Kalidou Coulibaly transfer as 4 rivals chase signature. Can I have a signature? That's not how it works. Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea are also said to be rivaling Manchester United in the transfer for Napoli's imposing centre-back Kalidou Coulibaly. Imposing, eh? It's a bit of a... It's not a particularly technical description, is it? Like the pizza chain in Manchester called Hot Pizza. It's shit, but at least it will burn your mouth. It's not the greatest of compliments, is it? Manchester United are reportedly at the front of the queue for Kalidou Coulibaly, but they face competition from 4 Premier League rivals. This sounds like Blind Date or like Love Island or something. Manchester United are really into this guy Kalidou Coulibaly, but he's not the only one who's after him. They face love rivals Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea. Who will win? You decide. The Red Devils are believed to have had a huge bid for Coulibaly rejected last summer before they instead signed Maguire in a world record move for a defender. Now, here's something, not really inside knowledge, but kind of semi-inside-ish knowledge. United definitely were in for Coulibaly, or interested in Coulibaly before, but I think they wanted way too much money for him, as is kind of suggested there. So I think that the reason I've read this one again is because the Mirror are reporting other reports and we're reporting the Mirror's report. So I get that it's a kind of a tenuous stretch, but because I am aware of this interest, I'll make it out like I'm some spy here, but because there was this interest and it was genuine interest in recent times for Coulibaly, the idea that we are going back in for him is something that I wouldn't completely rule out at face value. But Napoli's poor season has led Coulibaly appearing increasingly likely to leave in the summer for a cut price fee. According to Naples-based newspaper Il Mattino, Man United are in pole position to land Coulibaly. Imagine if, I feel so sorry for Ed Woodward, having to make phone calls to Coulibaly's agent and Martinez's agent back-to-back. He's going to be ill all day, isn't he? Balking at transfer fees left, right and centre. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm all right now. I've finished the Martinez call. I've calmed down a bit. My stomach's calmed down a bit. I'll ring Coulibaly, just an easy one. How much? Ill. He'll be ill for weeks, bless him. No wonder it takes us so long to get transfers. Ed Woodward's balking at everything all the time, throwing up in his mouth. The guy's a wreck, bless him. But yeah, look, Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea also named as interested parties as they aim to strengthen their defences. I think in terms of defence strengthening, it would rank... I actually think United have got the best defence of all of those teams, especially with ageing Vertonghen and Alderweireld at Tottenham and their lack of fullbacks at the moment. I think United actually have the best defence. Is that ridiculous to say? I think Chelsea's is young and not particularly amazing. Arsenal's is just wet tissue, isn't it? Any sneeze, any fart, just a child's fingernail could break through their defence. So I think if United could reinforce in that area, it would make, again, excuse the hyperbole here, I think we would have one of the best defences in the league if we got Coulibaly. I think we'd have probably the second best defence in the league. Ridiculous, I know. But yeah, so let me know what you think to a potential Coulibaly transfer. And there was reports, not in this story, but in other ones, about talking about maybe somewhere in the region of 65, 70 million for Coulibaly. Dan Keeble saying we have the 4th best defence in the league. Yeah, I agree. And I think it would get better, obviously, with the addition of Coulibaly. The Bigly 7 says, Joe, why don't you rock the man bun? Well, I used to, and I sometimes do. But I like this. In the winter weather, it's like having a permanent scarf. You know what I mean? I tuck it around the front, I tie it in the front like that, and skip through town holding my little wicker basket. And it's a very nice situation to be in. Apparently, Messi might be joining Paddock FC. Interesting. Heard it's to do with Steve having his number. Yeah, there is rumours there that Stephen has texted Messi during this time of unrest at Barcelona, and he may well be working with Paddock FC in the future. We'll have to see about that. Rather have Varane than Coulibaly. Yeah, but you don't always get to choose who you get, do you? I think whoever's available, and again, it looks like Coulibaly may be becoming cheaper because of Napoli's poor season. So, Yeah, same kind of concept with Jack Grealish maybe being cheaper if Aston Villa get relegated. Coulibaly doesn't look like this imperious world beater at a top-class club anymore. He looks like someone that's maybe too good for the surroundings he's in, and that may force Napoli to sell slightly cheaper. I don't know, a bit serious there, but, maybe it's true. My mate calls Grealish Grealish, which I think you are just mishearing him say relish when he's ordering a burger. So Ryan McCrossan, that one's on you. I can never say his name. Amencano looks to be a good buy for a centre-back. Massive upside, might be available for a reasonable fee from Leipzig. Yeah, he's been one of those that's sort of this young generation of fast, quick, athletic, good-on-the-ball defenders, which seems to be much more common these days. In years gone by, there was sort of 2 or 3 ball-playing centre-backs you could find, and they were expensive and you couldn't get them because City already had them. But now it seems as though there is this younger generation of centre-backs that have been focusing on actually being able to pass the ball since they were young, rather than trying to learn it at 26 like Chris Smalling tried to do, which, is not his fault. Right, let's get back into some news then. Don't need defenders, need midfielders. Yeah, I think it's clear United are after midfielders. We've obviously got Bruno Fernandes already. Again, the interest in Jack Grealish does seem to be legit, as we've seen. Grealish will be just as much if Villa stay up. Price won't change. Maybe, maybe, but then Villa do earn less money if they're in the Championship next season than if they're in the Premiership. So their sort of need for cash would be slightly higher. And obviously that desperation leads to lower transfer fees generally. Coulibaly next to Wan-Bissaka would be unfair for opposition left wings. Yeah, you'd struggle, wouldn't you? Imagine. I mean, he's not necessarily that great going forward, but just imagine if you're a left winger, Raheem Sterling, who already can't score against United, and now he's got Coulibaly and Wan-Bissaka to try and get past. Good luck, guy. That's all I'll say. Good luck, guy. Right. Next up, Odion Ighalo then. It's going to be a long episode today, isn't it? Blinking, snoring. Got some stories for you. Odion Ighalo working around the clock. With Olympians to make instant impact at Manchester United. First of all, any activity that ever happens around the clock. That is the nature of clocks. They are infinite, they are endless, they never cease. So anything you've ever done is around the clock. So this already suggests to me there's some sort of trouble afoot with this story, because round the clock, it's all round the clock. Nigeria centre-forward is so determined to hit the ground running at Old Trafford. He has been doing double sessions with Team GB Taekwondo. Why? You never see that. Who does that? Why is he with the Taekwondo team? I know he's trying to get strong in that, but that's not something people do. You don't just get with the Taekwondo. Oh, what's he going to just flip? Next time he's trying to shield the ball for a corner at United, and he just flips someone over his shoulder and gets sent off. That's not what you do. Anyway, Odion Ighalo has been undergoing double training sessions, the famed double training sessions, alongside Great Britain's Olympic Taekwondo team for some reason, in his bid to make an instant impact at Manchester United. United's deadline day signing arrived at Old Trafford for the start of the Premier League winter break, where his return to England has been no holiday. Of course he hasn't, he's at work. And the 30-year-old plunged straight into working with performance coach Wayne Richardson. Should he not be working with United? I never quite get that. I never quite get when you work with United, when you work with outside sources. I don't know why he's working with the Taekwondo team. As cool as it sounds, as interesting as it sounds, if he starts fighting, he's going to get sent off very quickly. But it's nice to see a player like Ighalo that is just so excited, so determined to be a success at United. My only worry is, will he be so sort of excited and edgy and nervous, perhaps, that affects his game? Have you ever been so nervous that you couldn't perform? Let me know in the comments. Actually, don't, because that is disgusting. I can just see where that's going to go already, and I don't need to hear about it. Here's a video of him putting in the work in his training sessions. Look at this, look. Shielding the ball, shielding the ball. Do you know when you go to throw a tennis ball for your dog, and they bring it back, and they go to give it you, and then you try and get the ball off them, and they do this. Can I have the ball? Give me the freaking... So that's what Ighalo's doing there. Tennis ball practice. It's all good, isn't it? It's nice to... I've never seen anyone actually practice shielding the ball like that before. So, it's nice to see someone doing some very real-world, training, essentially. Really shielding that ball there. Zlatan did Taekwondo. Yes, he did. He's got the perfect combination in his mentality. This is from Matt Wicks, of having strived to compete with Watford and having rinsed the Chinese league. Hopefully he can bring the best of both to us. Yeah, here's something with strikers that I always think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but, this is just my opinion, I think it's better to have a striker come in who's used to scoring no matter what league they're from, unless it's like, you know, pub league, some fat 40-year-old bloke who scores goals for his Sunday league team. But I would prefer someone who has been at a lesser league but has been scoring goals consistently than someone who's been at a decent league but has been either not been playing very often or not scoring very often. Like, I just think I'm glad that I don't mind that he's been at the Chinese league. Obviously, it's not the ideal preparation, but I'd rather he be scoring loads of goals in China than being on the bench, you know, for someone like Everton for the last 6 months. I think it's better practice, and being a goal scorer is so much of a confidence game. And I think it's just better that he's been scoring at all than you know, coming in cold at United. Is this channel sponsored by 1664, or do you just like the beer? This is one of the 3 beers that is on the 2 packages for £9 offer at Tesco. It is this, it's Stella, it is Budweiser, and the Stella cans come in a 1-pint can only, which whilst it is a good value for money, your hand does make the drink warm by the time you finish such a large can. So this is the only drinkable lager of the 3 that comes in an appropriately sized vessel. But thanks for the question. Why not Tavez? Don't know who or what Tavez is, but you know what? That sounds like a tissue. Achoo! Why not Tavez? Argentinian tissue paper. Anyway, everyone like the video. Get it to at least 69 now. Come on. Yeah, if you could like the video, that'd be great. We're talking transfers. We're talking all of that stuff. It's very good. Like the video. That'd be very nice. If you were a dog, what breed would you be? Afghan is the obvious answer, but I reckon you're a bit of a spaniel. Don't know why Afghan is the obvious answer there. If I was a dog, what breed would I be? Probably maybe a collie. I've got a border collie at home, and I like her. She likes staring at shadows like me. Anyway. If you drink gravy when it's in a jug, do you still drink it when it's on mashed potatoes, or do you eat it? That's a very good question. I would say you eat it. But then again, see, here's a question. If you slurp it off the mashed potato with your mouth, then you're drinking it. Like, you know, if I poured some of this lager into an old carpet at a pub and I slurped it out, you know, shamelessly, let's say, that would still be counted as drinking. But if I sliced the carpet into a small chunk and ate the entire confection, then it would be eating. It very much is a semantics game, but I like the question. Joe is a Labradoodle, perhaps, but, you know, I don't have the curly hair. That's really the difference there. Excuse me. Would you rather Ighalo or Bruno spank Lingard for losing possession? With this Kung Fu Taekwondo training, I'd rather Ighalo. I think he might have a more effective chop technique. Would you bite a duck's beak to see how hard it is? No, I wouldn't, because I imagine it's just as hard as most sort of keratin-based defence structures, such as a fingernail, such as, you know, a toenail, or maybe a fetlock on a horse. I think it's all roughly the same type of deal. When you're just eating mash with gravy on, but then you're just eating mash with gravy on it, not the gravy itself. No. I think you're eating the whole thing. Right, let's get into some news then. This is a good one. This is nice. We like this. It's a bit rude, but it's a nice way to send us out. Let's just zoom in on that there. Here we go. Ready for this? You ready for this? This is by the way, I'm saving this. When I show you this, don't have a go at me. Have a go at the Metro, because this I didn't write this. All I'm doing is showing you what Joe Roberts wrote, which isn't a pseudonym. Dad fuming at baby's toy that looks like a big pink penis. Right. So let's get into this then. Here we are on a Friday night. Do you know what? There's a reason we do the show after 9 p.m, and that's because watershed stories like this. What do you think of that then? Filth. Right. A dad was left fuming after he realised his baby's new teething toy looks like something rather rude. And we're being cheeky here on Late Night Live. Dean Flight, 31, didn't think twice about giving his 6-month-old daughter Harley a new butterfly toy to play with, but it was when she turned it upside down and began teething with it that he saw what it resembled. Right. This is the guy here, Dean Flight, who apparently thinks this looks like some sort of genitalia. He suggested the toy makers intentionally make it look like a penis as some kind of joke. Dean, they don't, of course. If it was one colour without the strap separating the three parts, then maybe it would look less like it. But the fact that it's in three separate sections, almost like it's the balls, the shaft and the end, it feels like the entire thing was a joke. First of all, if your penis is in three separate sections like Lego, then you've got horrific problems, and that does not represent penises at large, which was a bad choice of words there. Penises in general, let's say. You know what, right? There are so many things that when you fold them a certain way and angle them a certain way look a bit rude. Look at this. Look at this big lad here. It's all phallic, everything. But it's not, is it? This man is a pervert. Dean Flight is a pervert. He shouldn't have had children at all, quite frankly. If he's seeing penis shapes in this lovable, cute little butterfly chew toy, he's got big problems, this guy. And you know what? I'd be the first one to have a laugh at the expense of genitalia. But I'm not going to do it because I think, personally, this guy's got problems. I bet he can't eat celery without having a laugh. I bet he can't have, you know, what else can't he have? Corn on the cob must be an absolute nightmare for him. If he saw a rocket lolly with that big red end on it, he'd ring the police. Dean Flight. Absolute disgrace there. I don't think he should be having kids. Is this the Onion? No, it's not the Onion. That's the Metro. That's a real man. He rings the police every 2 seconds. It's absolutely ridiculous. Imagine he just opens a rocket lolly for the first time, sees it, passes out, and then wakes up and reports the defrosted puddle for looking like urine, probably. Unbelievable, Dean Flight. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, eggplant, he can't drink that. That cat's arm looks different to me now. Yeah, look what Dean Flight's done to everyone. Like some sort of big shaking member there. I'm getting a lot of aubergine emojis in the comments, and I can see why. When biting a duck's beak, do you ask? Oh, when buying a duck's beak, do you ask for the bill first? I love that. That's very good. He definitely can't eat nuts, aubergines, or peaches. Dean Flight's life must be an absolute quivering mess, quite frankly. Is that trophy real, metal, or plastic? This is the actual World Cup trophy. If I'm being quite honest with you. 28 minutes has gone, right. We've got to go. We've got a Friday night to enjoy. I've got a life outside of this. You know what, thank you so much for joining me. Of course, the transfer window's ended now, but there's still plenty of news to go around, so I'm sure we'll be back doing this. Drink more? Sure. There we go. One sec. Transfer Seagull, didn't even need him today. There he is, though, just in case you wanted him. For those fans at home, bit of Seagull for you to lead us out with. Right, thank you very much for joining me. Like I said, we're going to be back over the weekend. We've got a comic club coming out tomorrow if you want a bit more of the fun side of Stretford Paddock. Here we go. Would you fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? 100 duck-sized horses would obliterate me. Have you ever seen Gulliver's Island, Gulliver's Travels, where they just tie him down, the people? They just tie him down. That's what the duck-sized horses would do. They tie me down and they trot. They trot on my body like some sort of stomp theatre performance with a deadly twist. And that's not how I want to go out. I would take the duck, I would get on its back and strangle it to death. Even if it was the size of a horse, I think I could do it. It's got no real punching power, but then that wing probably could do some severe damage, so I'd have to stay out of that. Nicholas Chalmers, Cans indeed. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. We'll see you next time. Good night!